Good morning, children. Now we are going to do lesson 14 in English literature. This chapter is about a shadow and it is a poem. The name of the poem is My Shadow, written by Robert Louis Stevenson. Children, before this chapter, you all have done Sunny Sundial, where you have read about how to find out the time by the direction of the sun. And in olden days, people used to find the time with the help of the sundial because there were no clocks or watches. Now, in this poem, children, this is the thought of a small child who is talking about the shadow in simple words. Now, here I have drawn a sun, and the rays of the sun, when they fall on the tree, this is the shadow. So, here the child has described the shadow. Now, I am going to read out the poem, and you all will follow it. This is the poem about a shadow in the words of a small child. The child is wondering about the shadow which he can see. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He is very, very like me from the heels up to the head, and I see him jump before me when I jump into my bed. Now, children, you have seen when you walk, when it is a bright day, means a sunny day, and when you walk, you see that your shadow moves before you. So, here also, and wherever you move, your whole body is in the form of a shadow which moves along with you. So here the child is saying that the shadow goes with me wherever I go. And the shadow is very like me from heels up to the head, means from bottom to top. And when he jumps into his bed, the shadow also jumps before him. The funniest thing about him is the way he likes to grow. Not at all like proper children, which is always very slow. For he sometimes shoots up taller like an India rubber ball, and he sometimes gets so little that there's none of him at all. Now, children, he is talking about the whole day, where at some hours the shadow is very long and at some hours the shadow is very short, and especially at noon time, that is when it is 12 o'clock in the day, midday, then you will not see your shadow because the sun is overhead. And he is comparing the shadow with the rubber ball. When you bounce the ball goes high up in the air and then it comes down. So he is comparing the shadow with the rubber ball. He hasn't got a notion of how children ought to play, and can only make a fool of me in every sort of way. He stays so close behind me, he's a coward, you can see. I'd think shame to stick to Nursey as that shadow sticks to me. Now see, the child is saying that he hasn't got the idea of how children play, and this shadow makes a fool of him in every way. But how? Sometimes the shadow is very close to him, behind him, as if it is a coward, means one who fears. And sometimes it looks as if the children, they stick with the nurse, the shadow also sticks with them. One morning very early, before the sun was up, I rose and found the shining dew on every buttercup. Buttercup is a flower. But my lazy little shadow, like an errant sleepy head, had stayed at home behind me and was fast asleep in bed. Now, children, early in the morning, when the sun is rising, you will not see your shadow in a very long form or in short form. So, here the child, when he gets up and goes out, he sees the dewdrops on the flower, and he is describing his shadow with a foolish person who is sleeping. Why? Because at that time the shadow is not with him, and he is comparing the shadow, that the shadow is sleeping in the bed. This is the poem about the small child who is describing the shadow. So, children, you will write this poem neatly in your literature exercise book and you will learn it by heart. And you can do the drawing also, which is given in the book. Thank you.